Welcome to part number 4 of the Mega Man X3 Kirby Challenge. It's time to face off with Toxic Seahorse. And this stage took way longer than it should have. And for one simple reason. The Frost Shield is a terrible weapon. It is horrible. Now in the last video, I tried to make the Parasite Bomb sound like a decent weapon. I said that in certain situations, it could be very beneficial to use the Parasite Bomb. The Frost Shield has no redeeming qualities. Simple as that. It is horrible. It's just a bad weapon. To start off, it's very weak. It can only destroy the smallest of enemies in one hit, and that's a problem for weapons that move this slow. The weapon is so slow moving, it's really hard to hit enemies accurately. Here's a nice handy trick though. If you switch to 0 in mid-air, you get a little extra horizontal distance, and that will allow you to make some jumps that aren't possible by just jumping. It's a nice little trick to keep in mind. But like I said, the Frost Shield moves so slow that it's difficult to hit enemies accurately. And when you do hit enemies, this ice shard will pop out and sit on the ground, but that doesn't do anything. It's just, overall, it's a terrible weapon. It's not good. And it also has a very low ammo count. In this stage, I use all of my ammo. The last shot I use is the one to kill Toxic Seahorse. But that's not the worst problem. That's not the problem that cripples the weapon. The biggest problem with the Frost Shield is that when you kill enemies, it will never, I repeat, never drop weapon ammo. It will always drop health. And that kills the weapon. It really does. With a weapon that's so weak and has so low ammo, you need these ammo refills, but it always drops health, and I guarantee you that's correct because there's another weapon that only will drop weapon ammo, and it really kills the weapon, and the Frost Shield is a terrible weapon. You really can't justify using it. There's really no reason to use it over the Mega Buster. Why use the Frost Shield that has low power and low ammo when you could just use the Mega Buster, which has high power and infinite ammo? That's the problem I have with some of the X3 weapons. They're just too weak, and they're weaker than the Mega Buster. Remember in Mega Man X1 with the Fire Wave and the Storm Tornado? Those were excellent weapons. But here in Mega Man X3, you really don't have that many great choices. A lot of the weapons are decent, but with most of them, the Mega Buster is just a superior choice. And that is one of my biggest problems with X3. That's why I rank it lower than both X1 and X2. And the Frost Shield, it's a terrible weapon. Luckily though, Toxic Seahorse's stage isn't too bad. It's not horrible. In the beginning, there are a lot of tricky jumps. As you saw earlier, I did have to jump over a few enemies. And that one jump from the platform to the sewer climb, that one took a lot of attempts for me. I think I failed that jump pretty much half of the time, roughly. But other than that, the stage took a lot of planning, and that was the main difficulty. Figuring out how I can get through this stage with so little ammo, and it was hard. It took a lot. But I eventually did it, and here, I used every single shot. I only have to dash a few times, and I take no damage, which it's the best I could have done for this stage, because the Frost Shield is just a terrible weapon. Simple as that. It's a horrible weapon. You should never use it. Anyways, here is Toxic Seahorse, and luckily, Toxic Seahorse is a very easy boss with the Frost Shield. All you need to do is run left and run right, and then just shoot out a few shots. It's very simple. I'm really glad that the Frost Shield has some purpose. It is useful against some bosses, but it's still a horrid weapon. Do not use it. There is no reason to use it. It's one of the worst weapons in the game. I wouldn't consider it the worst weapon in the game, but it's terrible. There's no reason to use it over the Mega Buster. Anyways, by defeating Toxic Seahorse, we get the Acid Burst. And unlike the Frost Shield, the Acid Burst is a fantastic weapon. And when we go to Tunnel Rhino stage, we're gonna see why that the Acid Burst is actually a very versatile weapon, and it's pretty good. I really underestimated the value of this weapon, but it's pretty good, and I will explain why in part number 5. I'll see you then.